Hello, I'm Earl, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. My guest on this program is not a stranger at all. He's been here many, many times before. Mr. Tobias, how are you doing, sir?
Hello to you, Oral. Hello to you, of course, your viewers and your listeners as well. And I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the program.
Nice to have you here. You're back on the show this time as the General Manager Retail for the Windward Islands Bank.
Yes, I'm wearing my cap as General Manager Retail for the bank, yes.
Great. So tell us about, for people who don't know, retail.
Retail is what we call the personal side of banking.
Yeah.
You have the commercial side, which is the business side, and then you have the personal side, which normally deals with personal loans, mortgages, and then, of course, the sales service and operations, so the branch network.
Okay.
That's the area that I'm responsible for.
That's good. You know, the Windward Islands Bank, from the time I was a little boy, that's all I saw.
Yes,
a lot of people in St. Martin's when you tell about bank, first thing is the Windward Islands Bank.
Indeed, yes.
So the bank has been around for a very long time.
The bank has been around almost 64 years. December 3rd would make 64 years. So the bank has been part of the entire community and its growth and its involvement over the years. And indeed, we are the biggest bank on the island and still the local bank, still your partner in progress.
And the thing is that, this bank is going through some changes right now. You'll issue a release on some of those changes, asking customers to bear with you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, first of all, Laurel, it's important for us as a bank to acknowledge the fact that of late, yes, the lines have been extra long. There's been some customer frustration, and we have to apologize to all those that have been inconvenienced. And admittedly, we have recognized that there is a need for us to continue improving our service. We have been going through several changes, quite a bit of changes over the past 12 to 13 months. And some of those changes, of course, have led now to some of the frustrations, what I call growing pains that the bank is going through because of all the changes that have been made over the past few months.
So these changes now that the bank is working on, will average customers see a big improvement there?
Most definitely. The goal is, our new country head, Daisy Carolis, she has set a goal for the bank to have customers in and out the bank within 15 minutes.
Oh, that's very ambitious.
That's very, very ambitious. Yeah. Ambitious, but not impossible.
Yeah.
And, you have to have a plan to work towards it. And we do have a plan that we've been working on. As I said, for the past 12 months, you would have seen quite a bit of changes. One, we stopped the business and personal checks.
Right.
We've also placed the financial aid recipients. They're no longer coming into the lobby to collect, but now they collect their payments every month via our ATM terminals. So they all have been provided with ATM cards to collect via the terminals. We've enhanced our online banking, both personal as well as business. And we've introduced a new section in the bank, which is called non-branch channels.
Non-branch channel?
Non-branch channels. It has been around all the time. It's 3 areas in the bank that we're now focusing on, which is our online banking platform, our POS terminals, so the merchant terminals where you can pay with your card instead of taking cash. You can go into the business and pay with your card. And then
you can explain that one there.
Well, you have your Bankomatico card.
Yeah.
And we call it Tap Now because that's the easiest way to promote it.
Yeah.
So we're encouraging customers to pay with the card. When you go to the stores and the supermarkets, just use your card and tap.
Okay.
That's what we call them, the POS terminal, the point of sale terminals or merchant terminals. And then, of course, we have the third one. So it's the online banking, the point of sale terminals. And the third one then, of course, is what we refer to as it's not just the merchant services, but our ATM infrastructure. So we have over 20 ATMs on the island.
Wow.
So the 3 of those are then called the non-branch channels. What does that mean? You don't have to come into the branch to do any kind of banking. The way the bank is now set up, you can do anything that you normally do in the lobby at any one of our other services, our non-branch services. So customers that are coming into the lobby, our job now is to convince them and educate them on the alternative non-branch services so that they don't have to come in, clog up the lobby, and be frustrated for standing in the lobby waiting so long.
I smiled when you said 28 ATMs, right?
Yes. No, 20 over 20 ATMs.
Oh, over 20 ATMs.
0, yeah.
The reason why I smile is because in 1984, right, I had Mr. Vic Henriquez here on this same show. And I had just came back from the States a few years earlier than that. And I said to Mr. Henriquez, why don't the bank have an ATM? Because I was at a big university, and they had ATMs on the university campus in 1981.
Yes.
He says to me, Oral, it's too expensive and we don't have the amount of people for it.
Yes.
Let's fast forward now, 40 years later, and over 20
ATM terminals.
It's amazing.
Yes. That's progress. And that is the bank progressing as our society has progressed. And as I said, over 20 terminals. The terminals are used, the ATMs, they're well used.
Yeah.
But we are encouraging customers to make more use of them instead of going into the bank withdrawing cash. You go to the ATM, withdraw it, or further, actually better, you go to the businesses and just use your card and tap and pay, which is easier as well.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, the whole thing of no more checks is still, for some of them, an issue, because some of the guys who do plumbing and so forth, and they don't want to have the payment made online because they're not too familiar with it.
The system, yes. And that is part of now the growing pains that I made reference to, because there's a segment of the community who, as you said, are still a little apprehensive towards using the non-branch channels, and those are the ones that we're now working on finding other ways of which to keep them out of the lobbies.
So Mr. Bud, the top 5 challenges that you're facing right now at the Windward Island Bank?
Yes, we sat down and really analyzed the situation, and we came up with 5 areas that, like you said, top 5 challenges and what it is we're doing about it. And Aurel, if I can just go through them quickly you can get an idea. The first major problem is the client wait time. Client comes in and they tell us, listen, I have to stand up in the bank 2 hours, sometimes more than 2 hours, maybe just to pick up a card or to get some cash. Well, the alternative we have for that is what I just explained, the non-branch channels, that you don't have to necessarily come in. And then we're going to, within short, be introducing what's called a queue management system. A queuing management system, which is a numbering system, complete with an app on your phone where you can make an appointment. It'll show you what number you're next in line, and it'll also tell you the amount of time that it would take you to reach to the next teller or the cashier. So that's coming soon. Yes, that's coming soon, and we think that's going to really revolutionize and change the whole approach of having customers come and stand up like children lined up to go into class.
That's amazing. I got to go back there. It's amazing because it brings back memory of Disney World.
Yes.
You go to Disney World, you go about your business, you check your phone, and then
exactly. And when you're ready, then you can go and stand up and go straight up to the counter. So that is coming in a couple of weeks. We're hoping to have that in place as well. Yes, that's we're working now on doing some of the. We've gotten the equipment and working on having everything set up. So that's coming soon. So that's the first, the client wait time. The second one is account opening times. Many customers complain that it takes a long time to open accounts. And we're also going to be introducing in a few weeks, hopefully by the end of August, a digital onboarding system where customers who want to open an account can actually go via our website, via a link, and apply for an account. So they'll be able to go on, complete the application, upload their documents, the ID, the salary slip, and so on, and then the system would process it. They'll be contacted to do the signing off, and they can even sign off digitally as well. So that is something that's also coming, and we think that's going to also reduce the length of time that it takes to open an account.
That's amazing.
Yes. And we're looking forward to having that in place as well. The third one then, Earl, is our card delivery times, the debit and credit cards. Those also take a while, and that's mainly because the cards are produced in Curacao. And then, of course, they have to be flown up. If there's a mistake, you have to request it again, and then it doubles the time. So we're going to have our own cards produced locally. We'll have our own local embossing machine where the cards would be produced locally. So where a card normally takes over 10 days, the cards should be done now in 2 or 3 days. So that's also going to significantly improve the turnaround time for debit and credit cards.
Let me ask you for you,
sure.
Is it possible that when my card expires, that I can receive it in the mail, that I don't have to come into the bank?
It's a very good question indeed. That's something we're exploring. That's something that's done, for example, in Curacao. Our biggest challenge we have here is with the mailing system, the postal system. Especially after Hurricane Irma, a lot of the street signs and stuff got torn down. So having your card sent through the mail and having it delivered to the proper address, where it might be easy to find Mr. Gibbs' address, a lot of the customers, the address system is not proper in place for the postal system. And because of that, we cannot make use of the postal system.
Even with clients that have a post office boxes?
Well, actually, based on the bank's regulations, we're not. You will notice now when you come to open an account, they no longer take your PO box. You must have a physical address. Yeah, that's one of the new regulations, that you must have a physical address. So we would have loved to be able to mail the cards. That is done in Curacao, and it happens very easy. But here by us, our challenge is with our postal system.
We're still backward when it comes to address and so forth. I was telling someone I can find a place in New York City faster than in St. Martin.
Then indeed, yes, in most of these islands, that's the biggest challenge. Yeah, so that's a challenge. So because of that, they still have to come to the bank. But then we want to reduce the amount of production time, and by having our own local machine, that's going to then facilitate that. And then the fourth one is the claims and payments, where I mentioned, we have the online banking, and the central bank also introduced the instant payments. Instant payments, which is you can make transfers from accounts at any bank to any other bank. Before, it used to take up to 5 days for that to be done. With instant payment, it happens right away.
Really?
Yes. So if you have to pay someone that is at one of the other local banks, you simply go on the online banking. You just need their account number, and you transfer the payment, and you give them a call. They can check their account, and the funds are on their account. So that is also something that's being done by almost all of the banks, and it's also very efficient as well.
I thought only bank to bank within the bank was instant, and then external bank.
No, bank to bank is also instant. Yes.
Wow,
it's also instant now. Yes. And then the last and fifth challenge that we are aware of and we're working on is the issues with staff shortage and the knowledge of the staff to properly assist customers, and that we are constantly working on training the staff. We've now introduced internally what we call a talent platform, a group talent platform, where we have over 10,000 courses that our staff can upgrade their knowledge on a regular basis. So those are the 5 areas, Oral, that we are aware of, and we're working seriously to get under control. Our client wait time, the account opening time, the card delivery time, our claims and transfers, and then the staffing knowledge and the staffing shortage as well.
Have you all done any surveys to find out what the clients really need?
Yes, as a matter of fact, these figures, this came from the survey. The group now every year done a survey, and we did one last October, and these indeed were the points that came out from the majority of customers, that those are the complaints that the majority of the customers had, and that's why we're now addressing them from a structured, systematic approach.
And for those who are seniors, they can still come in, they will still be able to come into the bank. What's going to happen there? I'm just curious.
Our seniors are always welcome in the bank. We're kind of hoping that once we get all of these things in place, that the bank would still be able to accommodate mainly the seniors. The younger folks can make use of the non-branch channels, the online banking and everything. And we would just love the seniors still to come in, to be able to come in, sit down, relax. Because for a lot of them, it's like an outing. They go to the bank to meet each other, they sit down and they relax. And we've actually just also introduced a pensioners account. And
what's that?
It's an account for all pensioners, those 65 and over, that have checking accounts. We took all of those checking accounts and converted them to a special product type, where now they don't have to pay the over-the-counter fees, and they don't have to pay the ATM fees, and they don't have to pay online banking fees. So all pensioners over 65 are now free of having to pay those fees.
So indeed,
yes, all those over 65 that have checking accounts with us, not savings, all those checking accounts were converted so that now the accounts don't bear any transaction charges, no ATM charges, and no online banking charges. So all those are free of those charges.
Let me ask,
like you said, our seniors are the ones that make the bank survive for 64 years, and we have to treat them right, and that's as a result.
That's quite interesting. And you said earlier, it's like a social event for them, going to the bank and meeting their friends and so forth.
Indeed, yeah.
No, I still have my old bank book from a little boy from the bank, right? For the average person, if you're a young guy coming in now, you want to open an account, would they still give you a bank book, or that's gone?
That it's partially gone. Those that have keep the bank book still, but all new savings accounts that are open, you no longer get the passbook. As a matter of fact, we have a project that we were supposed to, but we've had it on hold for a while. Hopefully we'll do it before the end of the year, where all the savings passbooks will be converted to what's called statement savings. So you'll no longer need the book. It'll be just like a checking account where you get statements twice a year, and then via the online banking you can go and check your transactions as well. So that is also, we're moving with the times, because the machines that we use to print those books, most of them they're no longer being produced. Most of the companies have gone out of business, so it forces us then to shift to the statement savings.
I think it was a company called NCR or something like that made those machines.
That used to make the machines, The little machines, you push it in and it prints and stuff, but those companies have all gone out of business. Technology has taken over.
Oh, yeah. It makes life easier, though.
Yes, it should make life easier for those who take advantage of it. And it's important for folks to understand the bank has been around. Yes, it has been your local bank, but the bank has always been also being forced to move with the times as technology advances. We cannot stay the same way, so we have to move with it. Yes.
I think the nice thing is that you can pay someone right away. Someone come to work, say, look, I'm going to pay you now, and then I'll send you picture of that payment.
Of the payment, yes.
And I think for most people, that's nice.
Yes, that's convenient.
Exactly.
It's convenient, yes.
Before, people will be a little reluctant until they see that receipt come through and they say, okay, the person really paid.
Yeah. But now with instant payments, you can do it right away. Right away. The guy that delivers my gas, very seldom do I see him. I'll call him and tell him, listen, I need a new tank of gas, and I'll just, like you said, make the payment, send him the receipt of the payment. He goes, he sets up the gas, and I come home and my gas is okay. So it's the convenience of it, and that's the aim of technology, to make things more convenient, but not everyone understands that, and our aim is now to create more awareness, to educate the population to understand that, and then they don't have to come into the lobbies. They don't have to be frustrated standing in the long line for hours.
All right, in case you've just joined us, this is Speaking of Everything. My guest is Mr. Rolando Tobias. He's the General Manager Retail at the Windward Islands Bank here in St. Martin. When we come back, we're going to continue speaking with Mr. Tobias right here on Speaking of Everything on Facebook, YouTube, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus. More of the best.
In case you've just joined us, this is Speaking of Everything. I'm Earl Gibbs, and I'm here speaking with the General Manager Retail at the Windward Islands Bank, Mr. Tobias, and he's my guest. Mr. Tobias, in all the years we've been doing this show, and this is a very old talk show. I think first time I used the word old talk show. We've been around a long time. I've always had every manager at the Windward Island Bank started from Henriquez.
Yes.
And so I hope that you can convey to the current country manager that we would love to have her some time here and speaking about it.
Yeah, she's actually looking forward to it. She did tell me to let you know she's looking forward to
great.
It, so that hopefully she'll be on soon.
All right, good. So because I've had the opportunity to speak with all of them on this show. Right? That's really great. Sometimes people come to the bank or they have a problem, they complain. How is the bank handling that?
Well, we actually have a complaint center, an entire department at our head office.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, that handles complaints. And this department, once you send them an email with your complaint, with your contact information, they contact us directly here, and they would ask us to contact the customer. First of all, apologize, deal with the issue, and then find out what the root cause of the issue is, and then deal with the root cause of the issue so that it does not reoccur. It's important. The email address is complaints@mcb-bank.com. So that's complaints@mcb-bank.com. And we would now tell customers, if you have a grievance with the bank, the first thing, especially if you go into the branch, the first thing we'd ask you to do is, if you have a challenge, go to the branch manager and file your complaint and let them deal with it immediately. Of course, if you're not satisfied with the way they deal with it, you can then file an official complaint with the complaint center, and they tackle it. They don't joke. A response has to be provided within 48 hours. And I can tell you from experience, they send the emails, and if 48 hours has passed, they send a reminder, what has been done, and we haven't heard about, have you contacted this customer? What's the root cause? So we're trying to make customers understand. Sometimes, of course, you may get upset. You call the radio station and complain. You call television. You go on Facebook, or you write articles to the newspaper. But we do have an official complaint line where they can officially file their complaints and have it dealt with directly.
That's good.
Yes. The bank and the entire group, as a matter of fact, is very serious about how the bank is functioning and helping our customers. And they do have these things in place. And as a matter of fact, we have goals for our branch managers, I can tell you also, where they are required to call a certain amount of clients every week. Clients that come into the lobby, they would go check their information and call them and ask them how was the experience that they've had during their time in the branch as well.
That's good.
So yes, we are really trying to work with the customers to ensure that we tackle all angles. So those are the things, along with the survey, that really told us these are the areas you have to work on, and we're really now working on these areas seriously.
The bank is in what, 3 locations now?
We're now in 3 locations. We have the Pondville location, the Bush Road location, and the Simpson Bay location.
The Bush Road location is beautiful, man.
Everyone keeps saying that, and now we're that's why we're working on all of these, because everyone is now saying the Bush Road branch is so beautiful and so convenient, and now we're getting the congestion there as well, because it has become sort of a preferred branch, and we are working on alleviating some of the bottlenecks that we're having there. We're working on ensuring, Wendell, that's also a mandate from the country head, that all the windows in the branch are filled. What we have done is, and this is also something that I had to mention, our combined functions. What we've done is we've combined the tellers with the customer service and created one function. So if you come into the bank now, you'll see one line and everything is done there. Why did we do that? Because of some of the things we've put into place, the stopping of the checks, the pension, having the financial aid recipients no longer coming in. We realized suddenly our tellers are sitting there half of the day, and there are no customers that they're dealing with, while our customer service line was extra long with folks coming in, picking up cards, filing complaints. So in order for us to say, well, we're not sending the tellers home, what we did is we combined the functions, and now the tellers are also doing customer service tasks, and the customer service agents are also doing teller tasks.
Oh, that's great.
And it is great, but what we have is, because we've just implemented it as of the 1st of June, the staff now have to get accustomed to that new way of working, and that has also considerably slowed the service. But we find that as just growing pains. It's going to take a while for both to get accustomed, and then we're sure that the service is going to move much faster.
Yeah, it's good because change comes slow, and when it comes, sometimes it's difficult.
Yes, indeed.
But when you see what happened after that, it's a big difference. I know customer service has always been an area that I hated to go to at the bank because of the wait time.
Yes.
So I'm happy to hear now that that's being addressed.
Yes.
That'll shorten the time completely.
Yes. And we are anticipating that by the third quarter, the final quarter of the year, the customers are going to see the improvements that have been made in the bank. We're going through the growing pains now, and as I said, we have to apologize for that. We have to acknowledge that there is frustration and so on, but it's all part of all of the changes, and it's going to take a while. Like you say, I always say you cannot make an omelet without cracking eggs, and we're now going through the growing pains.
I know. I remember 2008 when I purchased the first digital system here. I was frustrated.
Yes.
And the guy said to me in New York, he said, "Don't worry, Earl. You're going to love it later on." He was right.
Yes.
Do without it now.
Yes.
Make my life easier.
And sometimes you have to go through the frustration in order to come out on the other side and really see the benefits. At the end of the day, you'll always have bottlenecks and challenges, technology, customer service, staffing. But for Windward Islands Bank, the most important thing is to be constantly working on improving the service, and that's why all of the things that I mentioned here, you would see that the aim is to constantly improve our service and ensure that the customers have a better banking experience.
How long have you been with the bank now?
I've been with the bank now 32 years. Well, the end of July actually is going to make 33 years that I've been with the bank. So from 1991. So indeed, I've been through Vic Enriquez, Jan Boujong, Derek Downs, and then now Daisy Carolis. I've seen 4 persons at the helm.
So when you joined the bank, were they still on the square?
There was still a location on the square, but the main building at the Pondville, the old building was already there. So that's where I started. And I've seen throughout the years, we've had at one time seven locations. And now we're down to 3.
But it's still amazing. I've seen people walking with a check from another bank into Windward Island Bank to cash it years ago. because in everyone's mind psychologically, that's all they hear and they see. They watch television, they see Windward Island Bank. It makes a big difference in people. Now the checks are no longer there, so that won't happen anymore.
Yeah, indeed. Well, indeed, we're proud to have been called, the People's Bank, a partner in progress.
Yeah.
And it is, though, we understand our role, but more importantly, we understand our responsibility in the community. A responsibility we take very serious and we work very serious on. You don't hear us doing a lot of these public appearances and so on, because we focus on doing what needs to be done for the community. But now and again, you do have to come out and explain the community, apologize and explain so that everyone understands what's happening, why it's happening, and what is being done to remedy it.
But having said that, I was very close to Vic Enriquez, and sometimes I'm sitting there with him in the office speaking, and he'll tell me about some of the issues in terms of mortgages by people who could hardly pay. I remember him telling me one time, man, if Windward Island Bank had to foreclose on people in St. Martin, it will be a disaster.
Yes.
And that was back in the late 80s, how difficult it was for the bank to deal with that social problem in terms of having the money to pay your mortgage.
Yes. And I think because of that, the benevolence of folks like Mr. Henriquez and Mr. Boujong, people started to see the bank sort of as a social institution,
which is
not the case, which is not the case.
Yeah.
But that was part of, indeed, the bank growing and helping the community to develop. Because if from the beginning they had approached that, if you do not qualify, we're not going to take you. Banking is risk. It's mitigated risk, but it involves risk. And if you want the community to grow, the bank is sort of the central nervous system, and you have to, give to ensure that the economy continues to churn. And that is the way Windward Islands Bank has functioned over the years and has also developed the community. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Oral, because a lot of people don't really know the history of Windward Islands Bank, like you said, folks like Mr. Henriquez and Mr. Boujong, and then also Mr. Downs, and how they have been a central part of the economy, of the community, and developing the community.
As we move on, people will want to go back to those days, but it's not possible because the world is changing and everything is changing.
Yes. And you spoke about the seniors earlier. And indeed, the seniors would tell you sometimes, why can't we go back to the days in which, like you said, it was so easy. You could come into the bank, Mr. Henriquez would just say, give him the loan and so on. Times have changed. Things have changed. Can't happen anymore.
Too risky.
Too risky. Yeah, the bank wouldn't survive very long. To use that approach.
That's true. But it's just amazing.
Yes,
to see the bank and the role that the Windward Islands Bank played in St. Martin's development, and also in the development of its people.
Yes. And it has had heads, like you said, Mr. Henriquez, Mr. Boujong, who understood that and really pushed that. The community has to develop, donations, sponsorships, and so on that was done and that is still being done. It is done with the aim that send it out, it'll come back to the bank, but you're creating that economic activity to ensure that a country can develop.
All right. So, anything else you want to add that you think is very important for viewers, listeners to know about the Windward Island Bank and all these different changes?
Well, the main thing I would say is the bank has heard the survey that was done last year, for example, the results that came out. We've taken note of those. We're working on implementing some changes, and we want to just again beg the clients for their patience to ensure that we're going through this. We're working through the growing pains, but the end result is that we're going to see a much better improved customer experience. And that is the aim. And if there's anything I would leave with the customers is, continue to make Windward Island your preferred bank, your partner in progress. And Oral, I want to also thank you for having me on the program as well.
Well, I want to thank you all for supporting us and being here on the program again. Yes. And hope you can have the country manager sometime very soon on Speaking of Everything. All right?
Yes, hopefully. Thank you, sir.
Thanks and much success. That's the General Manager of Retail at the Windward Islands Bank. You see him right there, Mr. Rolando Tobias on Speaking of Everything. See you next time on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio.